All right, so when Madonna spit inside Drake's mouth on stage, that was him being initiated into the Kabbalah. All right. Now, if you didn't know, whenever you see people with this red string around their wrist, all right, this is a form of the Kabbalah. They've all went through this initiation process, all of them. All right. Now, some people may say, yo, Jay, what's wrong with the Kabbalah? You know, it's all of that stuff is connected. It's all witchcraft.
And I saw a star fall from the heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit.
Give me some protons.
In the coming periods, we will increase the energy of the beam to the world record of 6.8 tera electron volts, and then put the beams in collision. And this will happen in July, when the real physics will start again.
Give me some protons.
Whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue has name Apollyon.
The LHC-1 is starting up now.
Accelerating all proton physics.
Really, we have now 3 years of technical stuff.
And everyone follow.
Babylon the Great is fallen.
Picture hats.
Now these are legitimate images. They're not computer-generated ChatGPT images. Look, it says Getty Images right there. Watch this video clip of Vladimir Putin wearing his red bracelet at a news conference.
Ресурсами часть острова с новым портом и промышленно-технологическим кластером, где будут развернуты производственные и перерабатывающие предприятия, также с участием российского капитала. Планируются разработки и угольных месторождений, ферроникеля.
Okay, let's look into the political arena and see who else is in this Red String Club. We also have Trump's ex-wife, Marla Maples, and Trump's lawyer, Michael Cohen. I don't see any pictures of Trump wearing the red string, but in his book, Trump, The Way to the Top, he says he has a Kabbalah teacher. On page 188, he says this man, Eaton Yardini, was his Kabbalah teacher. I guess I was the most surprised that Tucker Carlson was in this club. I thought maybe he was kind of impartial, but it looks like he's been in this club for a long time. Way back when he did Dancing with the Stars. He even wore it way back then. Again, these are not AI-generated pictures. You can see they have Ailme slapped all over them, and everybody knows that you can't use these pictures without the Ailme on them unless you buy them. And also the Getty Images pictures, they're legit. So Tucker is really into this Red String Club. And I found out that Bill Clinton is also a member of this club. According to the Kabbalah Center, the red string wards off the evil eye. This is, of course, superstition. Now, it concerns me that some of these people are playing themselves off as being Christian, like Tucker Carlson and Trump. At least Ivanka is pretty much honest that she's not Christian, she's Jewish. But you know, Putin is trying to play the role of being a Christian too. I am very highly suspect of all of these characters.
Mystery Babylon exposed.
You get what I'm saying? It's all witchcraft. I don't understand why people don't get it, but you know, it's all a part of the occult. Tarot cards is all connected to witchcraft. It's all of it. All of it. Fortune telling, all of it. All right. So these people know this stuff. All right. And this is why they practice it.
Absolutely. So the Tree of Life is a model of the universe that comes out of the Jewish mystical tradition known as the Kabbalah. It stems back from as far back as the early Common Era and probably before that. The tree I am holding is the Golden Dawn rendition of a tree created by Athanasius Kircher. The tree describes the universe and you as emanating in 10 forms. This is the best way to understand it. Imagine you're God and you want to have fun experiencing yourself, so you play a video game. And you want to have even more fun, so in that video game, you play a video game. So it's video games within video games, and that's what these spheres are. Each sphere is being played by the sphere before it. By ascending all the way up through these spheres, we can eventually get to God mode in our video game. Follow for part 2, I'll go into more detail.
All right, now, I want to focus on the sacrifices that had to be made in order to level up Drake's career. All right, now, all right, and I know that there, people, they get caught up in the music, and oh, he makes great music, he's a good artist and things of that nature. But let's separate the artist from his personal dealings, But this is how they're gravitating you. Like I said, man, these people know exactly what they're doing. All right, they know exactly what they're doing.
Is your husband
a Kabbalist? Yes.
He is. Did you bring him in?
Yes. Well, I mean, I introduced it to him because I study it, and he was curious, and he was very skeptical at first, being a Darwinist, and not at all interested in spirituality. But
are there the traditions or laws you have to uphold, as the dietary laws, or you can't work on a certain day of the week?
First of all, like I said, there's no dogma, and I mean things like eating kosherly or honoring the Sabbath. There's the 1% reason, the reason that most Jews know about and even Christians know about, and then there's the metaphysical reason behind it. I would say the most important aspect of the Kabbalah is recognizing that we are all one.
Overboard, but I think there seems to be, I didn't want to get too much into it, but again, I think there are the similarities of seeing in Kabbalah, seeing that as a way of, or a means for Jewish, or content for Jewish national revival. And of course, the context here is this differentiation between Kabbalah and Rabbinic Judaism. Rabbinic Judaism was perceived as a sort of obstacle for Jewish revival, and Kabbalah as a sort of stimulant for Jewish nationalism.
Right, here's another exposed video. Now, as you guys know, the music industry is full of puppets, Illuminati puppets and devil worshippers and all. And in this hour, we've really got to have discernment and understand why we can't be a partaker of the things of this world, because they glorify ultimately the devil, the god of this world.
I'll explain later, it's the return of the God Mason. It's the return of the God Mason. Bastards, hope you've been reading your psalms and chapters, paying your tithe, being good Catholics. I'm coming, devil's pie, say some dessert for us.
And not only that, this is what Jay-Z said in one of his songs called Empire State of Mind with Alicia Keys. So this is the song lyrics. And Jay-Z said,
lots of limitations in regard to race, creed, or color, and you see, of course, the theosophical understanding of Kabbalah as theosophy. In the framework of the theosophical interpretation of Kabbalah, Jewish theosophists adopt a Christian, Kabbalistic, and Western esoteric perspective of Kabbalah and its place in Judaism, which includes a differentiation between Kabbalah and Rabbinic Judaism, a positive perception of Kabbalah as a vital spiritual element in Judaism, and a negative perception of Rabbinic, Halachic, Talmudic Judaism. These perceptions come to the fore in Butzena Britlova's article in the Jewish Theosophies about the ancient Kabbalah. The Kabbalah and its principles are applicable admirably to our own time, much in contradistinction to the Talmud, which in modern days seems dreadfully useless and unpractical with its laws that were established to govern conditions that we have long outgrown. The Kabbalah made a strong appeal to the poor, struggling creatures who were literally crawling along in the mud of despair under the yoke of operation and sect tradition. Okay, just another example from Alex Horn, that the Kabbalists profoundly influenced Jewish life and thought there can be no doubt. They tried to draw religious life away from the dry and meaningless repetition of acts and formulas. They strove to inject religious devotion and true faith into observances that were fast becoming perfunctory, etc. In difference to Blavatsky and other non-Jewish theosophists who had an ambivalent stance to Jewish Kabbalah and claimed that Kabbalah originated outside of Judaism and downplayed the connection between Kabbalah and Judaism, Jewish theosophists emphasized the Jewish origin and nature of Kabbalah. For instance, H. Blumenfeld, I didn't mention him before, but in an article entitled Theosophy in Kabbalah, Theosophy is a correct prototype of the Kabbalah of old, born in old Palestine and nursed at the breast of Zoroastric philosophy, and in former Talmudic days looked upon as divine revelation. Kabbalah and Theosophy are thoroughly Jewish. We recognize the Kabbalah and all pertaining to Theosophy as twin sisters. The Jewish Theosophists believed they had a double mission: to increase knowledge about Judaism, especially Kabbalah, amongst the Theosophists, and to help Jews to better understand Judaism through Theosophy and Kabbalah. And this comes for the fore, and I will not read it, in the objects, the stated objects of the Association of Hebrew Theosophists. The aspiration of the Jewish Theosophists was to revive Judaism in a theosophical spirit through a revival of Kabbalah, as part of Jewish spiritual national revival. And indeed, most Jewish theosophists were sympathetic to Jewish nationalism, and many were Zionists, active Zionists. Bosman, in continuation of a passage I cited before, wrote, "Having found the light, he," that means the author, Bosman, "in company with other Jewish theosophists, is anxious to share it with his compatriots. Hence the new movement, founded within the Theosophical Society to revivify Judaism by seeking to bring back to it the deeper truths so long overshadowed by materialistic wanderings." I would like to start and conclude. Oops, didn't see that. Jewish Theosophists created theosophical-inspired interpretations of Kabbalah, contributed to the modern understanding of Kabbalah in neo-romantic and Western esoteric perspective, which were derived mostly from earlier Christian perspectives. The Jewish Theosophists' perception of Kabbalah and their contribution to the formation of modern forms of Kabbalah is part of a larger current of modern Jewish interest and revival of Kabbalah under the impact of neo-romantic and esoteric movements. The interest in Kabbalah, its valorization, universalistic interpretation, its spiritualization and mystification, the dichotomization between Kabbalah and Rabbinic Judaism, the role of Kabbalah in Jewish national revival, merges and overlaps with similar tendencies in the late 19th and early 20th century Jewish thought. The Jewish Theosophists' perceptions of Kabbalah are similar in many aspects to perceptions of Kabbalah found amongst late 19th and early 20th century national neo-romantic Jewish scholars such as Hillel Zeitlin, Martin Buber, and Gershom. The term theosophy as the most appropriate term to describe Kabbalah. Sholem wrote in Major Trends in Jewish Mysticism. Sholem, Gershom Sholem. If I were asked to characterize in one word the essential trait of this word of Kabbalistic thought, I would say that the Zohar represents Jewish theosophy. That is a Jewish form of theosophy. By theosophy, I mean that which was generally meant before the term became a label for a modern pseudo-religion. In case it is not clear to whom he is referring, Sholem adds a note to the last words, in which he discusses the possible connection between Blavatsky's book of Zeyan and Sifrat Zetzniuta, and says, The first to advance the theory without further proof was L.A. Bosman, a Jewish theosophist, in his booklet, The Mysteries of Kabbalah. This seems to me the true etymology of the hitherto unexplained title. This bibliographical connection between the fundamental writing of modern and of Jewish theosophy seems remarkable enough. Notwithstanding his reservation and disparagement of the Theosophical Society, Sholem's understanding of the meaning of theosophy and of Kabbalah as Jewish theosophy is not that far from the theosophist's understanding of the term. And I go back to the text, continuing where I stopped with the note. Theosophy signifies a mystical doctrine or school of thought, which purports to perceive and to describe the mysterious working of the divinity. Theosophy postulates a kind of divine emanation whereby God, abandoning his self-contained repose, awakens to mysterious life. Now, I don't want to claim that modern theosophical, it's the assumption that as Jews, they were, of course, more interested, and their ambition was to. Now, it's not that difficult because I think Kabbalah did originate in Judaism. So, the question should go about the distancing of Kabbalah from Judaism. But they didn't do this move. On the other hand, they were based. Most of the knowledge of Kabbalah is based on Blavatsky, other sources. As I said, they didn't study Kabbalah at home. Even A.D. Ezekiel, who was able to be in contact with Kabbalists who taught them later and gave him some books which he said were terribly difficult for him to read, of course. But most of them encountered Kabbalah through esoteric sources, theosophical sources, scholarly literature at the time, which emerges, part of them written by them, and some of them had knowledge of Hebrew and Aramaic, like Miller, like Bergman, like A.D. Ezekiel. So there were some who turned back to Jewish sources. There's one interesting case of, I mentioned him, Gewürz, who translated many texts. He was from a rabbinic family. He lived in Dembitz until he was 20, so he had some kind of training in Hebrew, and he translates a lot of Zoharic passages. None of those passages are found in the Zohar.
When I first made the correlations between Kabbalah and science, I was stunned.
We do know that Isaac Newton had access to certain mystical texts, certain texts of the Kabbalah.
Well, the Kabbalistic description of creation is coming from a single little point, from a speck, and of having matter form and time and space form all together at the very beginning. This sounds very much to me like the description of the Big Bang.
I couldn't believe that the Kabbalists could derive these truths without really knowing any mathematics or physics.
It is certainly true that in string theory, the number 10 is the dimension of space-time for supersymmetrical string theories, and 26 for bosonic string theories stand out as a requirement of the mathematics.
All the things that could destroy string theory, all the things that do destroy every rival theory to string theory, they are all eliminated in precisely 10 and 26 dimensions. These dimensions are magic. We physicists don't know where these dimensions come from.
The Zohar says those things. It could just have been a lucky guess. I don't know.
The Zohar speaks of impure fats and pure fats, and that relates very well to modern medicine's view of the two types of cholesterol.
Now you tell me, how come that's the only text who's 2,000 years old can have that kind of information so clearly there?
They knew things about the universe that took us till now to discover.
I think it's rather intriguing that the Zohar mentions cholesterol and mentions the liver and bile.
What I like about Kabbalah is that it has a rather profound view of a creator, of a divine being that transcends all possible notions that we could have.
There can be an interface between science and spirituality.
The Zohar's notion that light is a realm of no time and no space is quite consistent with special relativity.
What's been stopping it so far are, number one, the lack of a good concept, and I think the Kabbalah is offering that now in the context of modern science. And two, a reticence on the part of both scientists and people in religion to mix the two.
It's rather amazing, this uncanny reflection of some of the most advanced cosmology coming from our satellites, coming from our atom smashers, coming from our blackboards, that are mirrored in the Zohar and ancient Kabbalistic texts.